Hello and welcome. This is Rooflemonger, my friends. It is indeed Eddy Gordo time. And Eddy, I think he's doing pretty alright, at least in my initial early impressions, which we're going to talk about in this video, so far in Tekken 8. So, what's happening with Eddy? Eddy's changed up a bit, not the least of which is he has a lot of new animations. They're definitely putting a lot of care into him, especially on important stuff. Like handstands all new, Negativa, the crouch stance is all new. And a lot of things are just reanimated. A lot of things are changed from Tekken 7, naturally enough. And what I'll say, early thoughts, who knows in the end, but early thoughts, he's definitely quite a bit more streamlined. A lot of his more gimmicky setups from Tekken 7 are just straight up gone. But then there's a lot more situations where he can force a mix-up on you. So before we get into like the highlights of some of the things I find really neat, let's just showcase some of the changes between Tekken 7 and now. So I guess one of the really big ones out of the gate is on Negativa stance, sitting stance, you now have 3-3, which is just like a straight up hell sweep style move. And he also now has a buff system. And we're going to talk more about the buffs because I don't want to say I'm disappointed, but I thought it was more elaborate than what it was. But just out of the stances, something like a hell sweep here, get a good amount of damage. 32 specifically, and you start building those stacks, and those stacks unlock moves you can't otherwise do. And if you get 2 stacks, those moves get even all the stronger yet, right? So just something like that is a pretty big deal. Tekken, you need your lows, and those power lows are what help you win games. But let me show you what I'm talking about, like some of the mix-up situations. Something like up forward 4. So this got upgraded to full circle tracking, as you can see, like the little slash effect, right? And now on hit, it puts you in the Negativa stance, sitting stance. So before in Tekken 7, it just knocked the enemy down. And you know, that's good, that's fine. Knockdowns aren't bad, right? But now what it does is it puts you at a very severe plus frames, plus 12. And you're in the stance right in their face. Plus 12 is the kind of plus, you know, if you're, negative a couple frames or whatever, this is Tekken, there's ways around it. But negative 12 is a hell of a negative to be when you're in a mix-up situation, right? So now if you get hit by this like very long-range full circle tracking move, you're in Mix City. And to me, that's a lot more valuable than the knockdown you got in Tekken 7. You get one of these bad boys and then like guess Hell Sweep, maybe guess big launching mid. Now instead of the knockdown, you're just in a much worse situation, okay? Guess Hell Sweep. Guess all sorts of like low mid funny options here. Maybe just a gigantic mid launcher. We always love those bad boys, right? Like, just guess mix, mix, mix. And this is more where the kit seems to be leading in Tekken 8. And there's definitely a lot of priority shifts. Like before, a back 3 used to be a power crush move, right? Now that's back 3 plus 4. His big boot. Which, by the way, it's fast enough for what it is, 20 frames. It's a heat engager. We love those Power Crush heat engagers. I definitely don't see complaints about those on Twitter, right? And, safe on block, because why not with good pushback, too. Negative 7 with this pushback. If you want to just backdash out for free, you can. That's like 0 consequence. The only knockback is a high, right? So that's the Power Crush now, which I think is pretty good. But yeah, so this bad boy is no longer a Power Crush, but it splats on hit. And it's also more advantage on block than what it used to be. And it also does chip damage, and not negligible chip damage as well. So maybe not the armored move anymore, but, as a sledgehammer against someone being defensive, this isn't bad. So, like, that's a pretty cool change. They're going to see what's optimal here, but you can definitely get follow-ups after the fact, too, if you do splat them with it. So that's cool. Other things you can tell, like, the priorities are shifting. Handstand 1. So before, Handstand 1 was also a Power Crush move. Now, he has Power Crush from Handstand. He has 1+2, which is a mid, by the way. It's a little negative, like it's negative 12, but it's replacing another different negative 12 move, which is for the better. So Handstand 1. Handstand 1 now on hit, it leaves you +8 and automatically shifts to Negativa. And once again, we get that sort of forced mix-up situation, and that's really handy. This is kind of what we're aiming for with Eddy now. And now what's different is this bad boy is also plus on block and does chip damage. So, like, kind of no matter what, if it connects at all, you're getting the mix-up. Like, they're going to have to guess what's going on here. Like, +5's not as plus as some of the other ones, but +5 is still +5. So now it went from a Power Crush move that was -12 on block, by the way, so it was punishable, into now, if you block this at all, guess mix. If you get hit, guess mix. Like, it's just, if you block, you screwed up kind of move, which is definitely to Eddy's advantage. Some changes, keep in mind, I'm no Eddy Gordo pro, right? But some changes seem like a little noodle scratcher, like down back 1+2. In Tekken 7, this was just a straight launcher, right? And the fun part about it was a safe launcher, and it's still safe here, but here it doesn't launch, it just forces crouch. Now Eddy, he maintains his crouching throw, and it's actually a lot faster, well, not a lot, but a couple frames faster than it was in Tekken 7. So at 12 frames advantage, that means you do get the combo. And he does have 2 grounded throws, by the way. One's a heat engager. That's really handy. And we'll talk about it in a later section, because we have like a little bit of Eddy Gordo grappler traits going on. And if you know the channel, I love my grappler stuff. So that's really cool. That's really fun. But like, it's definitely not as good versus just getting like a full combo, right? Like, it still moves backwards. You can hopefully like avoid a move coming your way, whatever. But while I love throws, getting a combo is better. But then again, we have like sidestep 3+4, this guy here. So this is another launcher, right? So you can follow up and do whatever. And one really cool change is this is now safe on block. So it's a high, so it's duckable, sure, but it's -7. In Tekken 7, this was, I can't remember the exact number, hopefully I have the footage here. But it was definitely like launch punishable if you're paying attention, right? It was pretty negative. So there's certainly a little setup involved because you got to sidestep first and all that, right? But, you know, safe launchers, always a fan of those. And just some other cool ditties, like I believe it's new, the forward 3+4. It's just a gigantic long-range move to poke with. It's only like a 19 frame startup. It's a heat engager. It is safe on block. It's negative, but it's safe. Just a big old poke, what's not to love. Forward forward 3 is really good in this version of the game here. So forward forward 3 is a low profiling low, 21 frames, so it's basically unreactable. Like, someone's gonna be really on the ball to catch this, right? And it's +6. Once again, forces Negativa. So many situations in this game, you're gonna be plus frames with Negativa or handstand, and then force mix on the enemy. That's the new Eddy Gordo, right? And definitely plays with that in mind. But it's also a nasty counter hit. So on counter hit, you're +15. So if you're so inclined, you can go into your crouch and grabs, get your heat engager, or you have Negativa 4-3, which is also a heat engager, and when you know it, all becomes a natural combo. 50 damage. 50 damage is not nothing for a low profiling, fairly fast low on counter hit, right? That works out. Also, while naturally it's negative, it's only -13. So you'll eat like a while standing 1 whatever punish from most of the roster, sure, but it's not exactly launch punishable, right? So that's really cool, really good. Other interesting things, I can't remember if this was Tekken 7 or not. If it was, it's not the same input. 1+2 is big elbow. So it's plus on hit, sure, it's slower, 20 frames, but it is completely neutral on block. It is 0 on block, so not even -1. So if they block this, whatever. Just start slapping like stand 1 at them or something, right? See how that goes. And if it hits as a counter hit, forces crouch, +13, which means also, again, guaranteed crouching throws, right? Once again, I'll talk more, but this is kind of like Eddy the Grappler now. You can do all sorts of things to combo into his low throws. So if you're just like unsure what to do, like this is like a very low consequence move. If they block, you're completely neutral, whatever. Just seems like a cool move. I'm learning myself right now. That's just kind of one that stuck out to me. His full crouch moves seem really good. Full crouch 4 is just quick low, well, quick-ish low, 24 frames, but still not the worst, right? And if it hits, just automatically go into handstand. Big plus frames in their face once again, then mix. That's the Tekken 8 Eddy Gordo. And if it hits as a counter hit, well then just splat right in their face, right? And get whatever follow-ups. And full crouch 3 is a deceptive looking mid. And beauty of beauties, very plus on block. Does chip damage too. And goes in the Negativa state. Once again, you're plus on block and Negativa state in their face. It's mix-up time. And also, if it does hit his counter hit, Bounces! Why not? We like it. Combo time. Basically, what I'm trying to say is Eddy's got a lot of cool toys, right? A lot of things that are changed from Tekken 7, in my opinion, are changed for the better. Once again, he did lose some of his more flowery transitions and like weird kind of strings that go into like various things. He's more streamlined now, but I like it anyways. I can't speak for you, but I like it. But now let's talk the new mechanic, because it's not exactly what I thought it would be, although not necessarily a bad thing, but certainly different. All right, so we have his new buff. That is a little hurricane icon you can see here at the top, and you can build it, and you can get 2 stacks maximum. The stacks don't go away during the match, but when the next round begins, then you start back at 0, right? So you're meant to kind of get them quick and then go from there. The thing about this is, I didn't know how expansive this was going to be. Like, would it be like Jamie in Street Fighter 6, where the drink system is like the entire character? Or, you know, just maybe a little more subtle? But it's actually, I don't mean this in a negative way, but it's very bare bones. As far as I can tell, there's only 3 moves that can build stacks. The Negativa Hell Sweep, which, hey, you're going to be using that. It's a pretty good move. Handstand 2-3. And down back 4-4. And that's it. That's all. And like something like down back 4-4, handstand 2-3. You're going to be using those in combos probably. Hopefully. We'll figure it out, I guess, right? So like it's not going to be difficult to build them, but I just thought there'd be more, right? And once you have these stacks, it's only 2 moves. That's it. And they're both on your handstand. That's it. That's all. Like if you thought it was going to be more expensive than that, it's not. If it unlocks any other hidden properties right now, I'm just simply not aware. As far as I can tell, it just gives you 2 moves from handstand. Now here's the upside. Those 2 moves are a hell of a good 2 moves to have. So from handstand, you get handstand 3+4. And this is a power low. So if the first hit connects, so low, the other 2 hits, the mids, are guaranteed. 100%. So it does 28 damage at level 1. It does more at level 2, which we'll talk about. And that's pretty good, right? It just gives you a very strong low option out of your handstand. And also, considering it's a relatively strong, powerful low, right? It's only -13 on block. So you're going to eat a punish, yes, but it's not as bad as it could be like, you know, a usual Hell Sweep punish where you're going to get full launched. So that's cool. And the other move you unlock is handstand again, right? They're both handstand. And this is back 4. So back 4 is just a mid, and as you can see here, they're blocking, right? So it does a good amount of chip on block, also very plus on block. Handy. And if it connects, well, hey, it connects. You're +8. So if it hits, sure. Basically, now once you unlock the new powerful low, and they're scared of the low, now you have a new powerful mid. And if they block the mid, it's still effectively your turn because, you know, +6 is a pretty good amount of plus to be. +6, you can't laugh it off. You got to deal with it. And now what happens if we get level 2? Well, everything just gets better, as you would expect. So now the low, the power low, is a true Hell Sweep. So it does knock down, and the damage gets increased to 35, which is certainly not nothing. And on block, it's still punishable, but it's -13, right? So usually a low of this strength is going to be a lot more punishable than that, but it's not here. So knockdown, 35 damage, there's a lot to love. And the handstand now just straight up knocks down on hit. So you can just follow up, you can get pressure from there. And that's kind of all, right? So 3 moves build the stocks as far as I can tell. And once you have at least 1 stock, you get 2 new moves out of handstand. If you have 2 stock, those 2 moves get better. And that's it. But it's meant to be sort of a disposable resource, right? It resets at the beginning of every round. We have 3 out of 5 rounds, so it's going to reset all the time. It's basically just, if you get it, then all of a sudden handstand just gets scarier than it was before because you got some new and pretty powerful options. But is this buff the character? Do you base everything you're going to do around the buff? No, not really. At least we'll see. I guess maybe someone will figure something out. But as it stands, it just reads as if you get it, great. You get some new tools, but don't base your entire game plan around it. Okay, next let's talk Eddy and grappling. I'm obsessed with command grabs in all games. That's how it's going to be. This is the channel. I'm sorry. You signed up for this, right? So handstand grab changed up a little bit compared to Tekken 7. So if you're unaware, this actually is a true untechable grab. So I can set the opponent to throw escape all day long, right? And sure as sugar, but we do this. and he's just kind of kicking you in the head. What is there to tech, right? So how this worked in Tekken 7 specifically was did 40 damage, if I remember right, and just knocked you down. That's as you do, right? And now in this game, as we talked about, there's a little bit of a trend going on here, right? So now in this game, it leaves you at pretty solid advantage frames, 6 frames, right? Plus 6, and then you're in negativa state. So once again, you get that mix-up. You get those options. And if you know anyone who has that grappler mindset, especially in, say, 2D games, would you go for the home run grab that does more damage, or you take the grab that does a little bit less damage but gives you pressure after the fact? And most grapplers will take the one that does less damage, but it gives you options after the fact. So now, if you get kicked in the head a bunch of times, it's time to start guessing, right? We got those hell sweeps, right? We talked about. Those are always fun options, and everything else he has. Now, one thing, I've already seen this on Twitter, and it is true, so I don't want to like oversell you on the hell sweep. A decent amount of these setups where you're plus, but you're not plus by like a lot, if you backdash right away, a decent amount of these options, if you're not plus enough, if the opponent just backdashes, they'll get tagged by the low, yes, but since it needs a clean hit, i.e. needs to be like close enough, that means you'll have enough time to block the high. So just FYI, it's not airtight in certain situations for the hell sweep specifically. Hey, that's the way a cookie crumbles, right? So if you just want to go for the one hit, you can go for the one hit. And then you don't have to follow up if you know that's a thing. If you know they know that you know that they know, right? That's fighting games. But I just think it's neat. Eddy is rededicated to his crouch grab. You got the new animations as well, right? You got the more damaging version. You got the one that's the heat engager. Is untechable from handstand due to the fact you get pressure after the fact isn't more valuable in my opinion. It also has faster startup, which is always good too, right? We'll see how it all shakes out, but I just like grabbing people. Eddy can grab people pretty good for a character that's nominally not about the grabs. So that's some thoughts on Eddy as it stands. You know, it's day one, not even 24 hours of elapsed just yet. Just messing around, and so far, I dig him. Certainly different. Oh, and by the way, back 1-4, that's all natural combo and counter hit now, so hey, there you go, right? So he's definitely different. Again, I think he's more streamlined than he was before. He lost some of the gimmicks to gain some new gimmicks, honestly, but new pressure. And hey, it's a new game, new character, so it's good to change things up. But so far, I find him pretty interesting. Hopefully, if I do this right in a few days, there'll probably be a guide on the channel. I gotta really start grinding. Got learned a lot more than I already know about the character. But so far, thumbs up from me. Good initial impression. Eddy's an icon in fighting games. He's not just some guy. He is in the upper echelon of like legendary fighting game characters. And so far, it feels like they're treating him right. And I like that. And that said, hey, that's the video for now. So thank you very much for watching. Hope this video has found you well. And go out and play some Tekken.